Hi, folks, and welcome to another episode of the award-winning Legends of Sport podcast. I'm your host, Andy Bernstein. Lots going on, folks, in the world of sports right now, with perhaps the biggest worldwide event about to start, the 2026 FIFA World Cup. For this episode, I reached out to a friend and veteran of MLS and international soccer, Stephen Beitashour. Steve, or Beta, as he is known, and I met during the inaugural season of the Los Angeles Football Club in 2018. Steve came to LAFC as a free agent, and I was their team photographer for that first season. I was just getting back into shooting soccer after a very long hiatus from the sport. In fact, my very first job as a team photographer was for the Los Angeles Aztecs of the long-defunct North American Soccer League way back in the late 1970s and early 80s. So it took a little while to reacclimate, but I caught on quickly enough to capture the first goal in the team's history by Diego Rossi in the rain in Seattle. I found Steve to be just a regular guy, very approachable, always with a smile and a friendly word. And he was a steadying influence for the young LAFC team, a terrific athlete and a family man. We stayed in touch after he moved on to Colorado, and then when he moved to the bench at Toronto FC, where he is currently an assistant coach. Steve and I chatted about his history, growing up and falling in love with soccer in San Jose, playing for San Diego State, and being drafted by his hometown San Jose Earthquakes. Also, his international experience being on both the national teams of the USA and Iran. Steve and I shared his thoughts on the upcoming World Cup, which teams to look out for, and lots more. So enjoy this conversation with soccer legend Stephen Beitashour. And as always, folks, I'll see you on the backside. I want to welcome you, Steve Beitashour, to the Legends of Sport podcast. And we were just talking off camera about your kids. So you got three now. You got a December baby, actual Christmas baby, right? Yes. Your daughter was born on Christmas Day?
No, not on Christmas Day, right before Christmas.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I think we might have announced it around Christmas, just as a Christmas baby, but no, she was right before. Yeah, we're thick of it.
I hear you, man. I had two on either side of Christmas. They're a year apart. Now they're 30 and 31. They do grow up, Steve, eventually. So
that's what I hear. I hear it goes quick.
Yeah.
When does the sleep come back?
Well, it's so great to see you, man.
Likewise.
I was thinking about when we first met, and I don't even know if you know this, but you and I first met LAFC's inaugural season. You had just come over from Toronto, right?
Correct,
and one of the veterans on the team. I was just getting back into soccer, which was my first job back in the prehistoric era of the North American Soccer League. Believe it or not, I worked for the LA Aztecs. I don't even know what year that was. That was like 1979, 80 or something.
I was going to guess 80s, but maybe 79, yeah.
And I didn't grow up with soccer, Steve. I grew up in Brooklyn. We didn't know soccer from anything. I mean, football was football, and we played it in the street or on the schoolyard. So I had to learn soccer pretty quickly. They played in the Rose Bowl, which was terrible at night, and here I am, like fast forward 30-something years. I'm now working for LAFC as their team photographer, and I had to sort of relearn soccer. So you're actually a very comforting soul, because you were very friendly to me from the beginning, so I appreciated that, man.
No, I appreciate you too. Yeah. Well, I was a fan of all the work that you've done. Obviously, rest in peace with Kobe. I see your book in the background. I think I have the same book.
Oh, good. I hope you do.
The background as well. Yep, there it is. Let me grab it for you real quick.
All right, awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah. And your name is all over it,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the book Kobe and I did together.
Yep.
It was his it's his legacy now, in terms of the wisdom of the Mamba and where the Mamba mentality came from his own words, illustrated with my photos. And then over here, down there is the newest book, this one that I did with Vanessa Bryant, Kobe's widow, about all the Kobe and Gigi murals all over the world. She wanted to called it, sort of memorialized the murals in a book. So that was a beautiful thing. So when I see you in Toronto, I'm bringing you a copy of that one.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love, again, Kobe was one of my idols. So I think our first conversation probably went quickly into that, and
I
we
think it
definitely
was. I think
think
it
we meshed
was for
well.
sure. So
Yeah.
I was doing some research about you because I didn't really know that much about your history growing up. I mean, you grew up in the San Jose area, right? Um, your parents emigrated from Iran in the 60s, right? So your dad played soccer, is that correct, in college?
Yeah. He played at San Francisco State, was
Yeah.
their MVP. I didn't believe him until he showed me the yearbook. So he was pretty good. I think
Yeah.
if soccer were
Was
bigger
he?
in the US, he might have had a chance. But
Yeah.
back then was,
Yeah.
it was much just college and recreational. And so
Sure.
he was an engineer, so he did all right for himself.
Is that where you got the bug from? I mean, growing up, I guess in California, because I grew up in New York, it's a whole different ballgame, so to speak. But were there other sports that you loved to play, or soccer was really the number one sport from the beginning?
So I played every sport with friends, but
Hmm.
soccer was the only sport I played in organized sports.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
for a team, travel, and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
had an older brother, so he signed him up when he was a young age. Signed
Hmm.
me up when I was 4 years old, and so
Hmm.
we kind of just grew up just playing soccer. And again, with friends, we played every sport, whether it was
Hmm.
basketball, football, baseball, you name it, we
Yeah.
played it
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
street, in the
Yeah.
backyard.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
soccer was the one that was the only organized sport I played.
That's awesome, man. And who are your teams growing up? Like, were you a Giants fan, A's fan, Niners
Yeah,
fan?
so I was pretty much all Bay Area. So Sharks for hockey, Giants for baseball, Niners for football,
Right.
Earthquakes for soccer. So pretty
Hmm.
much pretty much all of them. And then we mentioned it earlier about Kobe. I was a Lakers
Yeah.
fan because of Kobe. So
No way, really. In
yeah,
Warriors country. That's interesting. Yeah.
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 So it was obviously a little bit before
Hmm.
the Warriors that people know now.
Yeah.
Um, and I
Yeah.
just gravitated more so towards Kobe. I didn't really follow the Lakers before. I
Yeah.
didn't follow them closely afterwards.
Hmm.
It was just I loved everything about how Kobe treated the game and
Hmm.
how to be professional.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
Big soccer fan, obviously, Kobe. I
yes,
mean, I never
yes.
knew if his team was AC Milan or FC Barcelona. I couldn't really ever figure it out, but he just loved soccer. And he and Messi, of course, bonded and did commercials together and all that. But you could never not have a conversation with him about soccer when it came up because he just loved to engage. And what about him and the Mamba mentality, Steve, that might have influenced your game and
Oh,
and and maybe now even as a coach as influenced?
yeah. Honestly, so much of it. There've been songs. I think it was Lil Wayne doing about Kobe Bryant, and
Hmm.
in high school and college, that would be my playlist just to get motivated. But
Hmm.
really about doing everything that you can to be the best that you can. And I was a walk on red shirt in San Diego State, and
Hmm.
so I had that chip on the shoulder right away about I got to outwork everyone. There was 10 freshmen my freshman year. 9 of them had scholarships. They were comfortable, and I had to come here, zero scholarship, walk on, and prove myself. And
Hmm.
so it was really at that point that I kind of dug into this Mamba mentality of like, I'm going to do everything. So maybe when these guys are going home, relaxing, or going to some whatever house parties or whatever, I
Yeah.
was at the gym, and I saw one of my college roommates this past weekend. We went to Chicago, and he goes, "Man, I'll never forget. You were doing double days when we didn't have double days. Like you were so motivated." And
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, I wonder if I did the same." And I'm sure everyone thinks the same thing,
Hmm.
but it's easy to talk, but to
Yeah.
do it, and that's the mama mentality. Like talk is cheap, but go
Yeah.
do it,
Yeah.
sacrifice. And so that's what it
Yeah.
meant to me.
No, it's for sure. And that's, of course, you're going to pass on to your kids because that's the way he lived and breathed, man. It was inspiring. It was also incredibly motivating for me to be around him all the time because he made everyone around him, but not just people on the court, but all of us support crew better. We want to be
Mhm.
better at our jobs just to match his effort. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So, Steve, explain something to me. You were when you were at San Diego State, right? You were playing for the Premier Development League, which I wasn't familiar with, right? The San Jose Frogs, or this
Yeah,
happened
correct,
afterwards?
correct. So
How does that work?
yeah, that's essentially like it's a semi-pro league. No one's getting paid, but
Hmm.
it's essentially a way for college students to go play
Yeah,
competitively on a team.
yeah.
Um, without losing their eligibility. And
Okay.
there were some rules about like only 5 players from a single university can play on one
Mhm.
PDL team. So I'm from San Jose, so I go to school in San Diego. I come back to San Jose. I need to stay in shape. I need to play somewhere. San
Yeah.
Jose Frogs, perfect. There were 5 Berkeley players, 5 Stanford players, five
Mhm.
Santa Clara players. Because again, max 5. No one was from San Diego State, so I come on, and these are all schools I tried to go to out of high school, but they didn't have the time of day for me because
Really?
I wasn't highly recruited. I didn't play in a big club team at a
Yeah.
youth level.
Yeah.
And so, I tried out, I made it. And the next thing you know, I'm starting and I'm scoring more goals than all these guys. I'm like, man, these guys are going to big schools.
Hmm.
And it kind of opened up my eyes. And then
Yeah.
that's the point where they actually asked me to transfer. But then, well,
Interesting.
check your
So
email. I emailed you a couple of
that's
years ago.
that's I didn't know it about that. I didn't know that there was like a development league like that. But your coach, Coach Kirshner, right, at San Diego State, he moved you to right back because of what? Well, your defensive prowess and your
So
speed, or what?
left back. He actually moved me to left back, even
Uh,
though I'm right footed.
yeah,
And that's college for you, right? Like
right.
we had a right footer that maybe wasn't decent with his left. And so they're
Uh-huh.
like, oh, Steve, you can play, your left foot's decent. You play left back. So,
Okay.
uh, yeah, that's when the switch happened.
Uh-huh.
And it was more so because he said, you're too fast. I was always a center midfielder in high school and youth, like club soccer. He's like,
Yeah.
you're too fast to be in the middle. We need you to just run up and down. So started off as a left winger,
Hmm.
wasn't getting goals, wasn't getting assists. And I think it was my sophomore year where he's like, all right, you have a crazy work engine. You're very fast and
Hmm.
you're crazy competitive. Like
Yeah.
usually attackers aren't like, they don't care if they turn the ball, if they don't want to defend. You're all over the place. So we're going to put you left back. You could still
Right.
bomb forward, get into the attack, and then you're going to defend. And,
Hmm.
you know, it turned out to be a very good move.
Yeah, is that kind of like a right-handed shot in hockey playing left wing? I mean, is it the same thing? Like your
Yeah,
dominant foot, you're playing off of that on the wrong side, or how's
for
that?
obviously you followed LAFC for a long time and you saw Carlos Vela cut into his left foot and
Hmm.
shoot. I
Hmm.
wasn't much of a shooter. I was more of a passer. And so I
Hmm.
didn't cut in as much. I usually just went down the line and crossed
Yeah,
balls in.
yeah.
I would say my left foot isn't as accurate as my right foot is crossing. So I didn't
Hmm.
have a ton of assists in college.
Okay.
But then you see in the pros where, at the time the Earthquakes drafted Justin Morrow, a left-footed left back, and then myself. They're like, "Well, you're right-footed. We thought you were left-footed, so you go the right foot." And then they saw the accuracy with the crosses.
Ah, I got it.
So it
Okay.
it would work what you're saying if you
Yeah.
were to cut and shoot, but I was
Gotcha.
mostly just going down the line and crossing.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I don't really get all of the nuances of soccer. It's just even after all these years, but it's fascinating to me. I mean, when I watch highlights and the technical skill that you guys have on the move, it's just mind blowing. It's like hockey. I mean, I'm a big hockey fan, love hockey, but I used to shoot, believe it or not, at the Forum. They used to have indoor soccer. Jeannie Buss brought indoor soccer to the
Oh, I
Forum.
remember.
It was
Yeah,
insane. The lasers, they're
lasers.
playing in the hockey boards, the whole thing. It was bananas. Anyway, so you drafted by your hometown team, the Earthquakes in San Jose, right? In
Mhm.
2010. That
Right.
must have been like pinch me, like this is amazing. I'm going home and I'm going to play as a pro in front of my family and friends. Was it amazing, or was it? How did you feel about that?
That definitely was one of the highlights of my career.
Yeah.
It's surreal, you grow up. I grew up in San Jose, born and raised there my whole life. And you play club soccer, and you always dream about playing on the big stage, right? You go to the
Yeah.
Earthquakes games, you're like, man, one day I'm going to be there.
Mhm.
You play high school club, and you always want a lot of friends and family to come to the games. But I
Yeah.
really didn't have many friends and family coming to my high school or my club soccer games.
Right.
It was just my mom or my dad, rarely both at the same time. And so, now you get drafted, you're in the pros back where you went to high school,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a familiar name. And now all these friends from high school are coming out, all your cousins are coming out, all
Yeah.
your parents and sister and brothers, and everyone's, man, this is an ordeal. So every game I had probably like 50 ticket requests. Like,
Oh,
oh, like can you,
careful what you wish for, maybe almost. Huh?
like, oh man. But it was awesome, honestly, because
Yeah.
I was so proud. Like I
Uh-huh.
was so proud to come back to a team that I grew up watching. I was a ball boy for them at a very young age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Supported them. They had an Iranian player, Azizi. And so it was really cool. I was very proud, and
Mhm.
I loved it. If 500 people would have come out and asked for tickets, I would have tried to help because I was so
Right.
proud of it.
Amazing, man. Then you went
Yeah.
on to Vancouver, Toronto. You won an MLS Cup in Toronto, right, in 2017. I was in Toronto when the Raptors won in 2019, and it was absolutely insane. I mean, you're in Toronto now, but I mean, the entire country was rooting for this one team. It's
Yeah.
not like you played in New York and there's a bunch of other NBA teams in the U.S., right? The entire country came out. And
Yeah.
Toronto is just an amazing sports town. I mean, it's just, I think it's completely underrated because people in the US don't really get to see much in Toronto. We got a taste of it last year in the World Series. But then from Toronto, you come to LA, right? Kind of weird circumstances, right? I guess they asked you to take a pay cut. You became a free agent, if that's correct. You end up coming to LA to an expansion team in LA, competing with the Galaxy, who won like 27, cups or whatever. Not really. But, what was that vibe like? I mean, I've talked to people like Jerry West used to talk about how when when the Lakers moved from Minneapolis, they couldn't get anybody to even buy a ticket, much less a season ticket, and they're going up and down the streets. I remember you guys doing promotional stuff to try to sell the team. Of course, the ownership group was a great ownership group. They put a lot of money behind it. But what was that experience like for you playing for a brand new team in a gigantic market like LA?
Yeah, yeah. Well, going back to what you mentioned about Toronto being a huge sports town, it really is.
Yeah.
We had won in 2017 the MLS Cup. We actually won the Supporters Shield, which is regular season championship.
Mm,
And we won the domestic tournament, the Canadian Cup. So it was the first team
mm.
in MLS history to win the treble, 3 trophies, all while breaking the points record in the regular season. So it's still called the best team in MLS history because no one's accomplished that still to
Wow.
this day.
Yeah.
So now going into free agency, I thought for sure I was a lock. I was part of a historic team, and unfortunately the salary cap, it caused some issues where you're right. They asked to take a pay cut, and
Mm.
I had done that the year before with, or sorry, the team before with Vancouver Whitecaps, and I was like, I can't. I'm not taking a pay
No.
cut to stay. I'm sorry. And then I
Yeah.
just felt like everywhere I went, even San Jose was like, well, you're a hometown kid. Can you take less? So it wasn't necessarily a pay cut, but it was still like,
Yeah.
take less to stay here.
Oh God.
So every time I felt like, you know what, like people aren't seeing my worth. Because every team that I was at, we won.
Mm.
So unfortunately with Toronto, I was like, no, like I can't take a pay cut. Like I want to stay. I truly did, but
Yeah.
that was the circumstances. So
Mhm,
that's
mhm.
where LAFC opened up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was John Thornton I knew from his Vancouver Whitecaps day, and also
Mhm,
Jordan Harvey, who was
mhm.
a free agent with the Whitecaps. So we were talking about like, hey, some of the rules were only 2 free agents can go to a team
Oh,
in a
I didn't
year.
know that. Okay.
Like
Uh-huh.
we could join up, and
Yeah.
so it was really cool to discuss, um, in the
Yeah.
back of the scenes about that. Talking to John Thornton, hearing their plans with the ownership group and
Mhm,
everything.
mhm.
So it was really cool. And then, sure enough, we get there, and
Yeah.
man, it was fascinating.
Yeah.
Just the owners, the fans, the
I know.
3252, everything about it was surreal.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, Coach Bradley, I mean, highly regarded coach. I mean, everything was great from the top down, I think. My experience there wasn't the greatest, to be honest with you, but I love that one year that I worked for the team. I remember going up to Seattle. I might have been sitting next to you, or at least on the bus or something, and we were chatting. The first game in Seattle was in the rain, and I
Mm,
actually got the photo of the very first goal in the history of the team. I forgot who scored it,
Diego Rossi.
Yeah, Rossi, that's right. And it was just it was a great experience for me, and I knew so many people in the ownership group, and I was happy to get get the team off the ground on the image side. Um, so Steve, I want to talk about obviously international play, and then of course the World Cup coming up, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, but with your dual citizenship, you played or you were on both the Iranian and the U.S. national teams, or had played with them at some point in your career. Is that right?
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
So I technically never played in an official game with the U.S. I got
Uh-huh.
called in to a couple games, a camp,
Yeah.
but in soccer terms, they call it cap tied. So the minute you go in, you're cap tied. That's your country that you have to represent your whole
Yeah.
career.
Yeah.
So when I didn't get cap tied, that's when Iran, called me into a game, played me, and then I was cap tied. So
Yeah.
yes, I did get called into both,
Uh-huh.
but yes, only played for Iran.
So interesting. That was 2018, right?
The That was the 2014 World Cup
Oh,
that I
okay.
played.
All right.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. And so looking towards now looking towards the World Cup, we're on the cusp of it. We're going to release this episode, I think, like the week the World Cup opens.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, the World Cup has become obviously like it's like the Universe Cup. I mean, it's just like you have three countries hosting for the first time, right? It's been expanded to 48 teams from 32. I'm reading the notes that my great researcher over here gave me. 104 teams, total teams, right? What's your thought on how big the World Cup has gotten, and especially now that it's three host countries?
Yeah, it's interesting. Growing up, obviously wasn't used to that. There was, you
Mm-hmm.
have a certain amount of teams. It's very difficult to get in. Right now, I do feel like there's a lot of countries that made it for the first time that
Mm-hmm.
necessarily would have made it before. So it
Mm-hmm.
is nice for them, but at the same time, it's the World Cup. It is a prestigious event that
Mm-hmm.
should be difficult to get into.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm a little indifferent on that side of it,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, the whole again the three countries representing it puts out more teams, more countries
Mm-hmm.
that maybe necessarily couldn't host it by themselves onto the market. So like Canada,
Yeah.
for example,
Yeah.
like I think it's really great because they obviously started the CPL recently, but they
Mm-hmm.
only have three teams in MLS, so it's not a lot of professional teams in Division One, and so it's good for them that they get
Mm-hmm.
a co-host with U.S. and Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but again, I think in what is it in two World Cup cycles, isn't there another one that's going to be like Morocco and someone else, so another
Yeah,
that
I
joined?
think you're right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good
Mhm.
in that sense that countries that wouldn't be able to host by themselves are now participating with someone else.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, they want everybody to see it and be part of it. So it's good in that sense. But I don't know how I feel about
Mhm.
the expansion of the teams. It feels like there's a lot now.
Well, it
So
seems like that they made it bigger, but it's like harder to get out of the first round or whatever they call the first group play, right? That you got to get out of that to get into like sort of into the tournament itself. Like it's
yeah,
almost like a qualifying
yeah.
situation. Well, it remains to be seen what happens. So you're in Toronto. Are you going to be involved at all? Are you going to go to games? What's your personal situation there?
Yeah, if they hook us up, since I am on the coaching staff and they are using our stadium, if they hook me up with some tickets,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will go. Whichever countries. I think it's always fun just to
yeah,
watch games.
yeah. It's
Uh,
awesome.
but
That's great.
if they don't, then I probably won't fork over some of these crazy prices that I have been seeing.
Oh
So
my God,
I'll use
it's
the time
insane.
to relax
Yeah,
and vacation with my family
there
if
you
that's
go. That makes sense, man. So I also don't know if you know this or remember it, but yeah, I am married to an Argentinian woman who I think loves soccer more than me. If she probably won't watch this, so she won't know I said that. But but it's beyond insane. I mean, I grew up a Mets fan. I was a crazy Rangers fan, but there's nothing compared to soccer in terms of fandom. I go to Argentina. It's like they live and die with every single second of the game. It's insane to me. Everything stops in our house. You can imagine the last World Cup and the final game was played. I think it's 6 in the morning. we were ready at 4 a.m. Our friends came over, the whole thing, popping champagne at 8 o'clock in the morning. It was insane. But so she's going to want to know that you really like Argentina in this World Cup. But aside from that, who do you like in this World Cup? Because I'm reading a lot of different things. I'm reading like Portugal could be the dark horse, and of course Messi's in his sixth World Cup. Ronaldo's in his sixth World Cup. There's a lot of sentimental stuff going on. But what do you think, Steve? Who's looking good to you?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that about your wife. That's how most countries are.
It's
US,
crazy.
US have been spoiled with so many great sports and the
Yeah.
popularity of them.
Yeah.
But in Iran, it's the same way. Like
Yeah.
soccer is the number one sport, hands down.
Yeah.
And so very similar to your Argentinian wife,
Right.
where they are so passionate about it. So tell
Yeah.
her I appreciate that passion because that's how our household is as well. But
There you go.
I don't know. Obviously Argentina won the last one, so they have to be a favorite. But I actually think France is going to be the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I
That's
think that's stacked.
yeah.
Their C team could make it to the semis. Like,
Yeah, that's what
yeah,
I'm hearing. In fact, my researcher Addison, who's right over here nodding, he said France was probably the favorite. So we'll have to see, man. But you might be right. But there's so much drama going on. And you talked about the Iranian team. They're in the tournament. They're going to be playing in the U.S., but yet they have to stay in Mexico. I
yeah,
mean, I mean, let's just take the politics out for once of some sporting event like the
yeah,
Olympics or World Cup and just let everybody do their thing. I mean, that's my opinion, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just
I'm
ridiculous.
right there with you. There was a
Yeah.
time where yeah, politics essentially had no part in sports, and it was fascinating. Wars were halted, right, so they can play this soccer game.
Yeah.
Uh, and so, hopefully we can get to that and just allow people to enjoy the beautiful game as it is. But yeah, I did see that they moved. They were supposed to be in the U.S. and now they're going to stay in Mexico. But it sounds
So,
like they'll still play,
so
which is good.
so if they were going to do that, why wouldn't they just let them play in Mexico? I mean, why
Yeah,
overcomplicate it? I mean, it
yeah.
just
Well,
anyway.
they probably realize how many Iranians, you probably know this, are in LA.
Oh
So
yeah.
two of them are in LA.
Yeah.
So, again, I mentioned the ticket prices about Toronto.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what those ticket prices are going to be in LA with all those Iranians there?
Well, also the U.S. is playing, I think, at SoFi Stadium in the first round.
Yeah,
My wife was literally looking at ticket prices, plane ticket prices, not soccer game tickets, but
yeah,
how do we get to Kansas City to see the? I'm like, let's wait for the tournament to go on a little bit.
yeah.
So we'll
Oh,
see. I don't know.
that's great. They're staying there, right? Argentina. They're staying with Kansas City
I believe
Sporting.
so. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It
yeah,
should be interesting, man. So tell me about your kids, man. Is your oldest is what, 7, right?
yeah.
He's
Oldest is
7.
7.
Is he what's he playing? Is he kicking a ball around or what's he like?
He is kicking the
Yeah.
ball around. He's a big soccer fan.
Yeah.
Uh, your wife will be happy. He has a little Messi
Oh,
jersey.
see, now that's that. Now she's definitely going to listen to this.
Yeah. Yeah, he has a lot of random, probably all my old team jerseys, but then
Yeah.
he does have a Messi jersey. I said that's fine.
Oh,
He
that's
is
awesome.
probably the greatest of all time, so I'll let
Yeah.
you do that. Um,
Did you ever play against Messi?
so we actually in the 2014 World Cup we played against Argentina.
Ah,
So yeah,
okay.
they beat us in the 93rd minute. It was 0-0 in
No.
Brazil. All the Brazilians were cheering for us to beat Argentina because you know how that clash goes.
Yeah.
The fans were cheering. They were chanting all the Iranian chants. And then in the 93rd minute, guess, of all people, guess who scored?
Probably Messi.
Messi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That's
so yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
He's
hey,
incredible.
at least you could say that. Like guys today, yeah, I played with Kobe. I played against Kobe, and or MJ or any of these guys. He's a legend for sure. Um, well, Steve, listen, man, I can't thank you enough for jumping on and giving us a little perspective about your history, but also about the World Cup coming up. We're excited over here. I'm learning more and more. I actually am learning about other teams besides Argentina. And but I hope that you get a few weeks off with the family. You get to enjoy that a little bit of the summer in Toronto. I told you recently I was up in Toronto and there's a great the sport magazine gallery. in that distillery district. You got to check that out. That's amazing. We're collaborating with them on a bunch of stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We go there every once in a while. It's a super, super nice area.
Yeah, and the guy who owns it, Wayne and his crew, they're great. They have so much vintage stuff in there. You'll love it. A lot of soccer stuff right now. So
Nice.
yeah, but I hope our paths can cross again in person.
Yeah.
I got to bring you a book, so that'll give me a reason to get back up to Toronto.
Yeah. Let me know next time you're in Toronto. We can get together again and catch up on old times.
I would love that. And I do have to thank you again for being so welcoming when I was really a fish out of water. I didn't let like the higher ups know that, but I was a little bit out of my element, honestly, with soccer when I started working for LAFC. So you were a very calming influence. So I appreciate that, my friend.
Thank you. You look like you belong, so no worries. It didn't look like you fish out of water at all. So
thank you, buddy. And I did get that first goal, so maybe I did something right. I don't know.
Pretty good.
Anyway, great to see you. My best to you and your family, and hope to see you soon, man.
Thank you. Likewise. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. Big thanks to Steven for taking the time from his family to chat with me on this episode. Always great to connect with him, especially now with the World Cup about to start. Good to hear his perspective and catch up. Enjoy your well-earned family time during this break in the MLS season, Steven. Thanks again. Thanks to our producer, Carlin Barker, and our editors, Sean Gosser and Addison Shao. Thanks to everyone for joining us for this episode of the podcast. We are thankful to all our loyal followers. Please tell all your friends, folks, to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Legends of Sport, and our Instagram at Legends of Sport, and my photography can be found on Instagram at ADB Photo Inc. Please check out the discount link on our social media to our friends at Mugsy. We absolutely love Mugsy's clothes, and you know that. Also, the discount link to our friends at You Should. The best way you should protect your skin for work, play, and everyday life. Very important with the summer upon us. Thanks again, folks. We'll be back next week with another great episode of the Legends of Sport podcast.